Hey guys, my name's Jonna. I'm an Aggie with a plan and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sitting down to plan out Sunday, October 2nd, as well as setting up my week for October 3rd through the 9th. No, wait, I'm looking at a calendar literally right here. October 3rd through the 9th. So if you're interested in that, make sure to stay tuned. Hey guys, my name's Jonna. I'm an Aggie with a plan. So today I'm sitting down planning out October 2nd. I had posted a question on my Instagram about grief. And so that's going to be kind of intertwined in this. I'm going to answer a couple questions about that. And I'm just going to talk about my dad a little bit. So as some of y'all know, October 2nd was my dad's birthday. We lost him back in May 2020. He was super special. He was just the best. And today I'm sitting down with a whole bunch of samplers. So this is going to be a kind of functional yet fun plan with me. So we're just going to go for it. So it was his birthday, and I got to admit it kind of hits me differently every year. The first year was really, really hard, obviously. Last year, I just completely fell apart. This year, I feel like I've kind of done okay. Grief never really gets easier, but you figure out how to handle it. And I think that's kind of the point I'm slowly but surely beginning to get to. First things first, I'm going to pop in this little sticker from Planner Kate that says happy birthday. Yeah, I think that's where it's going to stay. And after, no, it's not. I'm going to put it down here where I usually put my gratitude. And I'm going to print off a picture or two using my Canon Ivy. And I am going to use that as a way to talk about Dad for my own personal, thoughts. I pulled a bunch of samplers. We'll see how these end up working out for me. Mainly Planner Kate, also some random ones I just kind of had on hand. All right, let's cover it. Yeah, I don't cover it. No, it doesn't really cover it. Wait, there we go, I think. Anyway, I don't know why we have the need for a calendar on every single page. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to put any of my fitness stuff in here. Today I'm using a Erin Condren fine liner, and I just marked on myself. That's fun. Move exercise stand, water. I'm just going to do that. So as I was sitting down to set my goals for October, I did kind of my usual. I sat down and I was thinking about, everything birthdays wise, anything important dates, anything I knew already ahead of time. And I also started to consider the fact that, well, it's Dad's birthday, so I don't know how I'll mentally be handling it, things like that. So this plan with me is real scatterbrained. I'm really sorry, y'all. I can already feel the sense of kind of bonkersness. Yeah, no. I'll put these up here just kind of by themselves. That's from Slow Planning, by the way. I don't know if any of these samplers are still available. I just pulled a whole bunch from my stash. But yeah, so grief. Let's talk about it. It's hard. It's difficult and it's weird, and it can be it can be kind of a jerk sometimes if we're being honest. As I sat and I was thinking about the person that my dad was, things kept coming back to my heart and my brain, and I don't know, it brought a lot back. And as I was thinking about him, oh my gosh, this pickle, so cute. I'm going to put this kind of down here in the corner. I was thinking about the person he was, and I was thinking about, how I handle grief and, all that jazz. And I think it's important to give yourself grace when you're goal setting, especially when you know that grief is involved. I spent a very long time trying to tell myself I should be over it by now because, it has been close to 2 years. Or no, it's been over 2 years. But honestly, pardon my French, but what a bullshit mentality. I was thinking about it, and I was talking to a friend about how everybody seems to think that grief is just something you can put a pretty little bow on, and then after the funeral it's just done. But in reality, that's when the real work starts. And I think it's so important to give yourself grace if grief is on your heart today. You know, as I was sitting down and I was thinking about him, and I couldn't help but feel the need to give myself some grace. Usually my health goals are really intense, but you know, during the month of October, I typically try to kind of calm that a little. You know, I try to maybe make sure that instead of, you know, a certain amount of content every week, that maybe I do what I can, you know, and do what I feel up to and do what I can handle. Because I think it's so important to understand that, you know, grief doesn't slow down just because you need to. And so it's a matter of learning how to slow down and take a deep breath and, you know, all that stuff. So the questions I was asked on my Instagram, one of them was, how do you cope/heal? And I gotta be honest, I think that question is different for everyone. There's not a pretty way to grieve, you know, there's not a pretty way to cope. There's not a pretty way to heal. Like, if someone tells you there is, they're kind of lying. I gotta be honest. I am really sorry if y'all hear Bear in the background. He tends to be in here while I'm filming. I need to work on that. But if they tell you that there's a pretty way for grief to happen, then they're lying. Because there's not. It's hard and it's brutal and it kind of sucks sometimes. I gotta be honest. I'm popping a lot of red into this spread because red was his favorite color. But how do I cope? Well, on the good days, it's really easy. Life looks pretty normal and I just kind of do my best, and, you know, that's all there really is to it. Like, there's not a lot that I do differently than like any other normal day. You know, if it's a day where grief is present but it's not overwhelming, like, I just kind of go about my day, do what I have to do. I journal, find playlists I like, things of that nature, routines, water, walk, garter, prep. I'm helping my goddaughter make the garter for her homecoming date, and I'm deeply excited. Anywho, but on the days where it's not overwhelming, honestly, there's not a lot that really changes. Nothing's really too crazy. I do my best. I give myself some grace, and, you know, it's kind of the end of it. You know, there's not a lot that changes. On days that it's overwhelming, well, that's a completely different story. Those days have a lot of tears involved and a lot of time that I take to, you know, let myself feel what I'm feeling. I have more samplers of this one, so I'm gonna go with this one. So, you know, it all depends. It depends on what kind of day it is. If it's a bad day, I lean into what I'm feeling as much as possible, because I think it's important to give yourself grace and to give yourself a chance to breathe. I don't think it's okay to give up on yourself, though, you know, and not completely just disregard everything, because there are people who love you and who need you, and, you know, you may have a hard time that day with wanting to be here, but, you know, there's someone who's really glad you're here. I just want to throw that out there. And I know bad days don't always look like that for everyone. Sometimes bad days are just bad days, and, like, that's okay. I know with me, I struggled deeply with my mental health for a while. And the summer of 2020 after losing my dad was probably the most intense time of growth that I think I've ever experienced. Dude, it challenged me and it wrecked me, and that's okay. But if you're dealing with that, like, I don't think there's a pretty way to cope. I don't think there's a pretty way to go about it. I think you just have to do what makes you feel comfortable and what makes you feel okay in that moment. Like, my husband and I'll spend a lot of time talking about him. We'll hang out. We'll talk about the person that he was. We'll talk about, you know, how special he was. We talk about, you know, anything we can that reminds him of us, of who he was and what he meant to us, you know, like, and that's, I think what's important is that we do what we can to keep his memory alive. I'm gonna use these cute little stars. And so the way that I've learned to heal is that, you know, we take time to talk. I'm someone who tends to really feel like I'm bothering people when I talk about grief. And even when I brought it up on Instagram the other day, like, I gotta be honest, I got really stressed out because I was like, oh God, what if people just think I'm looking for attention and that's it? And I know in my heart that that's not the case. But a lot of my Instagram followers don't know me in real life. So it's like, well, shit. Like, you know, like it's hard because you want so badly to be able to be a resource for others. But dude, it's something. Anyway, but bad days wise, circling back, like, we talk about him, we hang out, we eat good food. We eat good food a lot because he really loved good food and we really love good food. So, that's kind of our jam, you know. We talk a lot about, you know, what we think he'd be like now. I got into Premier League after he passed, and I gotta be honest, I like today we had a conversation about what club we thought my dad would have supported. And I thought that was such a fun conversation. And it made me think in a healthy way about, you know, who he was and all that good stuff. I am kind of thinking I'm finishing this up. Friday I get paid. What do I want to put that? How do I want to put that? Payday. I am so sorry, guys. Bear's going batshit crazy. If you hear him, I am so sorry. I'm gonna leave myself a reminder that payday is this week. I am so sorry, y'all. Sorry, y'all. My dog was going crazy. If he goes crazy again, I'm gonna have to probably cut again. I don't even know where I was at. Oh, leaving myself a reminder about payday. That's where I was at. But concerning the bad days with grief and the bad days of figuring out how to cope, you just have to lean into what you have to lean into. You know, if you need to just rest and stay in bed, you know. But I encourage you to find a way to get back up again because it matters and you matter. You matter to the people around you, whether you think you do or not. Declutter. Yeah, I do want to do some serious decluttering this week. As for the good days, like I said, not a lot really changes. You just kind of make the most of it and you do your best. What else do I want to add? I do want to add a spot for any of the shows we want, but I think I actually want to save a little bit of space for some pictures. I've been taking a lot of pictures recently, and I've been enjoying that facet of my life right now. So I think I'm gonna put a little pot in, a little sticker right there. I'm gonna write shows. We're still deciding on if we're gonna keep the night that we watch Ghosts to Monday night, or if we're gonna switch it to Thursday nights when it actually premieres. Don't know yet. I'll keep you posted. Like, you know I will. Let's see. Actually bring these stars and hearts back in. Let's add. That can be one. We have I think we've got a couple of West Ham matches this week, which makes me very happy. So West Ham, A&M. Welcome to Wrexham. We've been loving it. So that's Ghosts. Let's do Ghosts with a heart because it's, wait. 2 West Ham matches and A&M. Cool, that'll be our sports. And then Ghosts and Welcome to Wrexham. So that'll be when all those are written out. And then I still saved enough space, I think, for pictures. You know what? I think that's it. I do want to hit on that last question I got asked on Instagram real quick, talking about memories. I do a lot of memory keeping just in general. You'll see me adding pictures to my planner. I do highlights every month. And this person asked me about what I've done to preserve memories. There's not a lot that I really can do at this point. There's no way I can go back and take more pictures of my dad and I together, which sucks. I gotta be honest, it really freaking sucks because we don't have a lot of pictures together and it makes my heart hurt. But I will say the ones we do have, I've done my best to have them saved and saved with backup. God forbid something happens. Because those memories are special, you know. I have a picture of us at my A&M graduation that means everything to me. It's a picture that hangs on my wall in my office, and it reminds me of, you know, how proud my dad was of me. Sorry, y'all, I'm getting a little choked up. But memories are special, you know. I think about the fact that nurses told me he held on for me because love's just powerful like that. And I think about that a lot. I think about the fact that he made it to my A&M graduation and that he made it to my SFA graduation. It was virtual, but he made it to the point of seeing me in the cap and gown for that. I finished my classes, I put on my cap and gown, and I sent him pictures, and then 2 days later he passed. If that's not a parent loving their child, I don't know what is. But memories wise, I do my best to keep everything backed up. I treasure the pictures I have. Because the COVID was so prevalent in that moment, the funeral for my dad was on Facebook Live through our home church. And so I'm able to look back on that, and as I spoke at the funeral, and I still have a copy of my speech, and I do everything I can to preserve what I've got. He was so special. He was my best friend. We stayed really freaking close, and I miss that man. I miss my dad every day. I know this is not the usual tone for my plan with me, so I am super sorry if you're bummed out about this right now. But I think it's so important to understand that if you're going through grief right now, and if you're going through, you know, struggles with your mental health that are in that nature, you've got to know that it's okay. It's okay to be dealing with that, and it's okay to realize that you're going to make it out the other side. That's one thing I do want to say, kind of to tie things up in a loose end. You know, if you are struggling with grief right now, I just want to encourage you that you are not alone in the battle, and there are people who really love you and who really give a shit about you. And if you need a friend, like, my DMs are open and on Instagram, so just shoot me an Instagram message. I will leave my link below. But y'all, grief is hard, and it affects our goals, and it affects who we are sometimes, and that's okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. I had written out this whole thing of what I was going to tell y'all and the things I wanted to talk about. And it's funny that none of it really matters outside of the fact of preserve the memories you have. Do what you have to do to make it through the bad days, to cope. Understand that therapy is always an option. And last but not least, realize just how freaking loved you are. My dad was so dang special. He loved people. He loved meeting people where they were at and loving people where they were at. He loved sharing meals with people. And he had this ability to make you laugh and cry in the same conversation, and to somehow make you think about everything in your life and the ones you love. And he reminded me constantly to tell the people you love that you love them, because they matter, you know? And I can't help but remember all the good about him, because he was a really good man. He was strong, and he was kind, and he was loyal, and he was one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life. But he was also just intensely kind. You know, he was the type of person, if you needed a shirt, like, he would give you the shirt off his back in a heartbeat, no questions asked. And so the day this video is going live is October 2nd. And I put off filming this video for so long because I knew I was going to get a little emotional, and I was trying hard not to. But y'all, do something kind for someone today. My dad preached random acts of kindness harder than anybody I know. He was determined to buy the car behind him coffee, or, to buy someone a meal, or, to just randomly text people he cared about and say, hey, I love you. I was just thinking about you. And so if you're hearing this video today, I don't beg you, because that's a little crazy, but I honestly ask you that if you can do something kind for someone else today, please do something kind for someone else today. Love other people, be kind to other people, because the world needs more of it. Last but not least, if you're a person who needs someone to be kind to them today, don't be afraid to be kind to yourself. Watch your favorite movie, grab your favorite beverage. Do what you need to do to be okay, because the world is better with you here in it. I love you guys so much. As always, I am so thankful that you're on this journey with me. I know that I've talked a ton. I know that the plan with me is honestly kind of bare bones, and it's not really that fancy. And it's a bunch of samplers, and it's kind of bonkers. But, I'd had this video on my heart for a while. I had it on my head for a while. I'll probably talk more about the goal setting side of things at some point, because I think it's important to give yourself grace with your goals. But that's another video, and I'm sure I'll get into it at some point. Today, I just really wanted to talk about grief, and to be honest, and to be vulnerable, and to tell you that if you are struggling with grief, it's okay to realize that grief is hard. It's okay to realize you're not alone. It's okay to get help. There is no shame in reaching out to a therapist and talking to someone about the way that you're feeling. Last but not least, for real this time, go love other people, be excellent to each other, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.